we are going to be reacting to his story because I heard it's blowing up and stuff. So we're going to be reacting to his story for the first time, Chad. So let's get right into it. So which one should we watch? I was forced to put. Which one should we watch, Chat? We're gonna watch Never Trust Your Neighbors, okay? All right, come on, do that, do that, do that. Let's see.
This may be the free ad block extension from Capital One Shopping. You can say.
I shot out of bed when I heard my mute daughter Ren screaming someone was killing her. I ran out of my room and saw my oldest daughter Callie running down the hallway looking just as terrified as me. When I opened Ren's room, she was sitting up in bed, pale-faced with tears streaming down her cheeks and her whole body trembling. We rushed to her and I pulled her into my chest while Callie rubbed her back. I asked, "What happened?" Ren's hands were shaking so badly she could barely sign, but I understood it. She saw a man standing in her doorway. I got goosebumps all over my body and I asked her, "Ren, is he still in the house?" She nodded fast and Callie let out a small cry. I stood up. "Callie, stay with your sister. I'm going to check the house. Lock the door." Callie nodded fast and stood up to lock the door behind me. "Be careful, Dad." I ran to the hallway closet and grabbed the baseball bat from the top shelf and gripped it tightly, prepared to kill the man in my house. I checked Callie's room, the closet, the basement, and the garage, but found no one. Even the front door and every window on the first floor was locked. My heart pounded because there was no one to know what Ren saw. Callie unlocked Ren's room after I was sitting on the bed trembling, and I knew I had to reassure her. She was on the edge of the bed and softly said, "Ren, he's not here anymore. You're safe. I promise." But Ren shook her head fast, like she didn't believe me, and I didn't know how to reassure her more until I looked at her lamp on the nightstand and got an idea. I flicked the lamp off and on and signed, "If you ever need me, you flick the lights 2 times and I'll come running to you no matter where I am." Ren's tears instantly stopped, and she bounced on the bed excitedly at the system, making her forget all about the man in her doorway. She flicked the lamp twice and watched me with a big smile on her face. Then her eyes got big like she had an idea, and she flicked it 6 times, then signed, "6 flicks means good night, Dad." I laughed and flicked it 4 times and told her, "4 flicks means good night." Ren giggled and she hugged me tight, and I asked her if she felt safe now, and she nodded. 2 years went by without Ren seeing the man in the doorway, but the flicker ritual we made up that night became ours. She'd flick the bathroom light because she scraped her knee, and flick her lamp because she'd thrown up in her sleep. And every night I flicked her bedroom light off and on 4 times, and she would flick her bedroom light 6 times. Things were so good, I thought the man in the doorway was the worst thing that would happen to our family until the day I got home from work and shouted Ren's name, expecting her to come running up to me like always. But she didn't, so I went to her room, but it was empty, as if she never came home from school. I tried not to worry, and told myself she was probably playing in Callie's room, so I went to her room. But Callie was sitting alone on her bed, scrolling on her phone. My voice...
Wait, Chat. Wait. So, what happens if it was that man that was standing by the door had took her? Chat, what happens if that was him, bro? It was probably him. No.
Voice came out shaky when I asked, "Where's Ren?" Callie looked up from her phone and asked, "What do you mean? Didn't you pick her up from school?" I knew something was wrong, but tried to calm down by telling myself she was probably still at school. But when I called the school, the lady told me Ren got on the afternoon bus home. My phone slipped from my hand, and dread filled me as I realized something bad definitely happened to my daughter. I looked at Callie, trying hard not to look scared, but failing. She got on the bus, but she's not here. Callie was already standing up, eyes wide. "Dad, what does that mean?" I ran out to go to the bus stop and heard Callie running behind me. "Dad, I'm going with you." I told her, no, stay here in case Ren, but she ran out the front door and climbed into the passenger seat before I could stop her. I drove fast to the bus stop while telling myself Ren was sitting on the bench waiting for me, and this would all be a stupid mix-up we'd laugh about later. But when we got there, my heart nearly stopped because the bench was empty. Callie's breathing got fast and shallow, and we both got out and walked up the road in different directions, shouting, Ren! Ren! Where are you? But then Callie suddenly stopped calling her name, and I saw her staring down into the ditch with her hand covering her mouth. My legs felt like jelly as I walked over, not prepared for what I would see. My eyes widened when I saw Ren's bright pink backpack in the ditch. Callie let out a broken scream that I felt in my chest. I stumbled into the ditch and picked up Ren's backpack. Her lunchbox was in the grass a few feet away, and the True Moo I'd packed for her that morning was lying next to it. I knew in that moment that somebody had taken my daughter, and the first thing I thought of was that the man Ren saw in her doorway had come back for her. I tried not to spiral because Callie needed me not to spiral, so I called 911 with my hands trembling as I told the dispatcher everything while picturing Ren wherever she was right now and wondering if she was cold or scared or hurt. I hung up when she said a car was on the way and went up to Callie, who was crying and shaking. I squeezed her shoulder. We're going to find her, Callie. We're not losing her. When the cop showed up, he looked around the area for 3 minutes, then said, There's no signs of a struggle out here, Mr. Powell. I said, That doesn't make sense. But he told me, most kids her age run away from home and come back in a day or two. Just go home and wait it out. I clenched my fists. You don't understand. 2 years ago, she saw a man in her doorway. What if it's the same man? The cop sighed like I was making things up and asked if I filed a report, but when I said no, he said, No report means that's not a lead. Best I can do is put out an alert. I knew he was going to be useless and not do that, so I told Callie we had to go, and we both angrily walked back to the car. Back at home, me and Callie started making missing persons flyers. Callie was crying the entire time, but kept wiping her tears and saying, I'm fine, before I even asked. I squeezed her hand and told her that we were going to find Ren, because we had to. When midnight came, I told Callie to go to bed, because we were going to hand out the flyers at 8 a.m. She nodded and went to her room while I went to Ren's. I flicked the bedroom light off and on 4 times to tell her goodnight, and stood there waiting for her lamp to flick back 6 times, even though I knew nothing.
Love Roblox? Earn off rewards. Sign up.
The next morning, Callie and I were at the house putting up flyers on every telephone pole when our neighbor Mr. Reeve came up to us. We never really spoke, so it surprised me when he told me, Silas, I heard
What happens if
what happened to
I think it's him, bro? Like, I really think it's him. I just have a feeling it's him, bro. I just have a feeling it's him. Watch it is too, bro. That's happening.
I'm not letting you do this by yourselves. Tell me what you need. I stood there amazed because he was. I handed him half the flyers and he looked at Callie and his voice cracked when he said, Callie, sweetheart, we're going to find Ren. Callie just nodded, and then Mr. Reeve walked off in the opposite direction, and I felt more hopeful than I had all night. We worked until we ran out of flyers, and Mr. Reeve told us, I got every porch and every telephone pole between here and the school. I also told the guy at the gas station to look at his cameras for yesterday afternoon. I pulled him into a hug before I even knew I was doing it. Thank you for your help. He patted my back. Silas, I don't have kids of my own, but I'd want somebody to help me if I were in your shoes. He took his phone out and told me to save his number so I could call him whenever I needed something. I saved it with shaking hands, and my voice cracked when I said I didn't know how to thank him. He rubbed his neck and asked, Could I see Ren's room for a minute? I know that probably sounds strange, but I want to pray over it. It did sound strange, but he spent the whole morning helping, so I nodded. Callie whipped her head at me and through gritted teeth said, "Doing." I shook her off and said he was being polite. I walked past her and led him upstairs. He looked at the bed and the lamp on the nightstand and the stuffed rabbit on the pillow and the pink walls. Then he closed his eyes and whispered a prayer, and when he was done, he told me again that we were going to find Ren. I thanked him and walked him out. Callie was in the living room now with her arms crossed tight and face pale. Dad, that was so creepy. I couldn't believe what she was saying. Cal, he was just praying. She scrunched up her face. I don't care. I don't want him in our house again. I reminded her that he was the only one helping us, and she stormed off angrily and slammed her door. I went back up to Ren.
See, she's kind of like getting it, but like he's not. But I don't know, bro. I don't know. I just have a feeling it's him. I don't know why.
Ren's room and flicked the bedroom light off and on 4 times and still stayed there waiting for her lamp to flick back. But that's when I noticed I could see into Reeves' living room and his overhead bulb was flickering on and off. My throat closed up because it felt like Ren was talking to me, but I knew it wasn't her. The next morning, Mr. Reeve knocked on my door holding a foil tray. I made you guys breakfast burritos. Food is probably the last thing on your mind. I let him in, and he set the tray on the counter, and that's when Callie came down the stairs. She froze when she saw him, but Mr. Reeve happily handed her a plate with a burrito. She took it without a word and sat at the kitchen table but didn't touch the food. Reeve sat across from me, and his eyes were as tired as mine. Silas, there's something I have to tell you. I gestured for him to continue. Do you know the man that lives in the brown house with the chain link fence? When I nodded, Reeve said, I don't want to point fingers, Silas, but he has a history with kids. He could be a suspect. Callie was already standing up, and I was grabbing my keys off the counter, and we all ran outside. Callie and me got in the car while Reeve watched us from our driveway. When we got to the brown house, I saw a white van in the driveway, and the blinds were closed. I got an unsettling feeling in my stomach, and it made me think this was the man Ren saw in her doorway 2 years ago, and he'd come back to finish what he started. I unbuckled my seatbelt, and Callie unbuckled hers, but I grabbed her wrist. Stay in the truck. She tried to pull her arm back. No, Dad. What if he took her? That's why you need to stay in the car. I got out the car and walked up the porch, hearing my own pulse in my ears. When I knocked, a man in his 50s opened the door, and he looked annoyed at being interrupted. Yeah? He said, really annoyed, and that pissed me off. My voice came out cold. Where is she? He looked confused. Where is who? My daughter, 9 years old, mute, missing. I know you took her. He stood up straight, menacingly towering over me. I don't have your daughter. Now get off my property. But I wasn't intimidated and looked past him into his house, and that's when I saw a bright pink backpack that looked just like Ren's. My vision blurred, and I grabbed him by the shirt and
Wait. So he took it? Bro. I don't know, man. Wait, so if he has her backpack, then that means he have her, right? Or no? Y'all don't know, chat. This right here is crazy, man. Like, I don't even know, bro. But let's see.
slammed him into the doorframe.
Like, I don't know. I feel it's not him though. Like, even though I still feel like it's the other man still, bro. Like I just have a feeling it's that man, bro. Not him, the other dude, bro.
Is she? He struggled out. I don't leave him and punched him in the face and he dropped to the floor, but I continued hitting him. My knuckles were splitting open on his face, but I didn't care. Where is she? Where is my daughter? That's when I heard sirens and a cop quickly pulled me off him and slammed me against the porch railing. Sir, you need to calm down right.
I'm not coming on Saturday. I'm strapped for cash.
I screamed.
What the heck?
He has my daughter. Check the house. I saw her backpack on his counter. The other cop was helping the man up, and he was spitting blood and shaking his head and talking fast. The cop let go of me while his partner walked over. Sir, he's got an alibi. He was at work the day your daughter went missing. He's lying. Call his manager. The cop sighed and told the man to call his manager, and he put her on speakerphone. The cop explained everything to her, and my face crumbled when the manager said, I can confirm he was here on that day. I shook my head rapidly and felt my head spinning. No, he's lying, I know it. I saw her backpack on his counter. The cops... I feel like it's that other dude, bro. Like,
Chat, it's that other dude, bro. I'm telling y'all, chat. It's that other dude. I can feel it, bro. I can feel it. Bro. I don't know why. But I could be wrong. I don't know though.
Side and asked the man if he could show me the backpack, and when I saw it, I realized they were two completely different bags. I closed my eyes and my legs almost gave out because I was still nowhere near finding Ren. He's not pressing charges, but if you come within 100 feet of this house again, you're going to jail. You understand me? I nodded weakly, then walked off the porch. When I got in my car, Callie looked scared of me, but then regained her head. Dad, you can't do that again. If you go to jail, Ren doesn't have anybody. I swallowed hard, suddenly feeling guilty, and drove us home in silence. When I pulled into the driveway, Reeve was at my window in seconds, and he covered his mouth when he saw my hands. Silas, oh my God, your hands. What happened? We got out of the car, and I told him everything. Mr. Reeve was moving around anxiously. We need to clean you up. We need ice and a cloth. Callie stared with her arms crossed, then coldly said, Mr. Reeve, you should go home. We're really tired. He froze. I just thought Callie, not right now. Please. I said sternly because I knew she was getting suspicious of him again. She looked at me in disbelief, then stormed off into the house. Reeve looked at me with a wounded face and tried apologizing, but I told him I just wanted to rest. He nodded, then walked away, and I went inside and straight to Ren's room. I laid down on her bed and pulled her stuffed rabbit against my chest and closed my eyes. When I woke up, it was dark outside, and I could see Reeve's bulb flickering on and off in his living room again. And watching it reminded me of the night I made up the ritual and how scared Ren was of the man in her doorway. I thought I'd kept her safe all this time, but she'd been in danger this whole time, and I was too
That is kind of
stupid to see it. The next morning, it took everything in me to get out of Ren's bed, and when I finally did, I saw Callie on the couch with one of Ren's hoodies pressed up to her face, whispering into it. I watched from the doorway, and I couldn't make myself go up to her because if I touched her, I was going to break too. The next couple days blurred together. I would sleep in Ren's bed and couldn't get out most of the time, and when I did, I would notice she stopped eating since her face was slimmer. Her hair was also matted on one side from sleeping on the couch. I'd been telling myself we were going to find Ren, but part of me didn't believe it anymore. The other part of me did believe it, and it was enough to get me to flick her bedroom light 4 times. I waited for the lamp to flicker, but the only thing flickering was Mr. Reeve's broken bulb. I almost didn't look at it since I was sick of it by now, but I decided to look either way. It flickered 6 times, then stopped, and I suddenly couldn't breathe because I just counted Ren's goodnight signal from across the street. I started crying because Ren was across the street this entire time, and the man who had been helping me was the same man who'd stood in Ren's doorway 2 years ago. I instantly went to Callie's room because she had to know where her sister was. I opened her door, and she was in bed with Ren's hoodie pressed against her chest. Cal, Reeve has her. He's the man she saw in her doorway. Her eyes widened, and she got up and started hitting my chest angrily but weakly at the same time. I knew it, Dad. I knew he was creepy, but you wouldn't listen to me. I took her punches as I told her, I know, Callie. I'm sorry. I promise we'll get your sister back. We just need proof so the cops will finally listen to us. Me and Callie had hope again, so we got to work the second the sun came up. Callie put her phone on Ren's windowsill to record inside Mr. Reeve's house, and we saw him walk into his kitchen and prepare a plate of food and a cup of juice, then carried both somewhere down the stairs. Dad, he's going to his basement. I spotted a window to the basement low on the side of his house, and my eyes widened in fear because the basement walls were the same pink as Ren's room. My head started spinning, and I had to put a hand on the windowsill to steady myself because he had painted the basement just for Ren. Callie noticed it too and dug her fingernails into my hand from anger.
Chat, bro, it's him.
I can't help but feel like I owe everyone.
After 30 minutes, Reeve came back upstairs with empty dishes, then grabbed his keys and walked out of his house and got in his car. I stood up. Callie, stay here and keep recording. Call me if anything moves. I'm going to see where he's going. She nodded fast, and I ran out of Ren's room, grabbing my car keys from the counter and a baseball cap. I followed Reeve 3 cars back the whole way to a grocery store, then put the baseball cap low over my eyes to hide my face, and walked in behind him with my phone in my hand, already recording. Mr. Reeve walked down the aisles, picking up normal groceries like a man with nothing to hide, and that made me angry. But then he walked into the dairy aisle and he grabbed a yellow 12-pack of True Moo and dropped it into his cart. My hands started shaking because I couldn't believe he was buying True Moo for my daughter, as if he were her dad. I wanted to slam him to the floor but stopped myself. After he paid for his groceries, I drove home knowing we had him. Back at home, I called 911 dispatcher. I had evidence that my daughter was being held in my neighbor's basement. She told me to stay in the house and that cops were on their way. Callie and I held our breaths until we heard the police knocking on our door. After I let them in,
Chat, I don't know if he has like a lot of evidence because he just went to the store to get that and then recording him inside. But I don't know though. I don't know.
they took our statements and our phones for evidence and said a warrant would be ready tomorrow. Before leaving, they warned us to not go near Reeves' property. Callie and me felt so much relief at finally being believed, and soon we were all going to be reunited. But for now, we sat on the couch watching Reeves' house through the front window. Every hour that passed felt like another hour Ren was alone down there. Then the living room bulb started flickering. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Callie covered her mouth and started sobbing since it was her first time seeing it. Seeing both my daughters hurting made me stand up ready to march to Reeves' house and bring my daughter home. But Callie grabbed my arms and pleaded, "Dad, you can't. If you go over there now, you'll go to jail and not him." She was right, so I took deep breaths to calm myself and then sat back down. The next morning, the cops, a detective, Callie and me were all at Reeves' front door, and when the detective knocked, Reeve opened the door looking confused. The detective held up the warrant. "Mr. Reeve, we have a warrant to search your home. Step aside, please." Reeve turned to me with a hurt look on his face. "Silas, you think Ren's here, but I've been helping you find her and praying for her." I cut him off, sick of his lies. "Save it. I know it was you in her doorway." He looked confused. "Silas? What doorway?" But he regained his composure and stepped aside. "Look anywhere you want, but she's not here." Callie coldly said, "We'll see about that, you creep." The cops spread out through the house, and we could hear doors opening and closing, and we'd hear cops shouting "clear" every few seconds. Dread filled my body at the possibility of Ren not being here. That's when Reeve put his hand on my shoulder. "Silas, you really think I'd do this? After everything?" And tightened my grip until he was in pain. "You really thought we wouldn't catch you? I wish I had killed you 2 years ago." He tried to free himself. "Silas, I care about Ren just as much as you." Callie screamed, "Shut up! Don't say her name!" Reeve flinched, and I finally let go. Then me and Callie followed the detective down to the basement, and I knew this was the only place left Ren could be in. Seeing the pink walls in person made me sick, but seeing an empty room made me sicker. The detective turned to me with her face softening. "Mr. Powell, she's not here." I shook my head fast. No, that's not possible. She's here. I know it." Callie cried. "She's supposed to be here." Reeve appeared in the basement, and he had tears in his eyes, and he suddenly looked like the kind neighbor who had been helping us, and I started to doubt myself. "Mr. Reeve, I'm so sorry. I really thought you were the man Ren. I'm so sorry." Mr. Reeve put his hand on my shoulder and squeezed gently. "Silas, it's okay, I'm not angry. You're just trying to bring..."
Chat, I don't know, bro. He's hiding her somewhere, bro. He's hiding her somewhere, bro. He's hiding her somewhere, bro. He's hiding her somewhere.
Home, and don't worry, I'll still help you look for her. My eyes filled with tears, and I went to hug him because he was still willing to help me after all this. But that's when we heard fast and frantic pounding somewhere behind the back wall, and I froze. Reeve looked scared now, and he talked faster. "That's the pipes. I've been meaning to call somebody about it." The detective put her hand on her holster. "Mr. Reeve..."
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it, bro. I knew that. You know what?
"Get on the ground now." But he bolted for the stairs while the detective yelled for someone upstairs to stop him. Callie gripped my shirt in fear and because we both thought he was going to make it out. But Reeve was tackled to the floor the second he got upstairs. He screamed, "No, wait! You got it all wrong!" The cop put his hands behind his back and cuffed him while Reeve thrashed, but me and Callie relaxed a bit. Then the pounding behind the back wall got louder, so the detective slammed her boot against the drywall. It caved in a little, so me and Callie started pulling at the edges while the detective kicked it one more time, and then the fake wall came down. My eyes widened, and Callie let out a cry because Ren was standing on the other side. Her hair was matted and tangled, and her fists were raw and bleeding, and her eyes were red from crying. I ran to her, and she collapsed in my arms, and my legs gave out right there. Callie dropped down and wrapped her arms around Ren and pressed her face into her hair, sobbing, "You're here, you're here." Ren grabbed 2 fistfuls of my shirt, and she was shaking so hard her teeth were chattering. I
knew it, bro. I knew it.
"Let's get you out of here." I carried Ren up the stairs while Callie followed behind me. When we got upstairs, Reeve was being walked to the front door, and he looked angry now. The wounded friend act was gone. When he saw me holding my daughter, he smiled creepily. Her scream that night was the prettiest sound I ever heard. I almost put Ren down to go beat him up, but I held on to her tighter because she was finally back in my arms, and nothing was worth letting go. So Callie stepped in front of me. "I hope you rot in jail, you creep." Reeve scoffed, and the cops shoved him out the front door. Then I took Ren to the hospital where the nurses cleaned the dried blood off her hands and wrapped fresh bandages on her knuckles. I wondered what she went through in Reeve's house, but shook the thoughts away because they scared me more than anything. After the nurses left, Ren grabbed a notepad and pen off the bedside table and wrote slowly and turned it around for us to see. "Did you see me flashing?" My eyes filled with tears and my voice cracked when I told her. "Yes, baby, I was flashing too." She started since we'd pulled her out of that wall, so Callie and me climbed onto the bed and hugged her. I held them both as tight as I could and thanked the heavens I'd looked at that bulb one more time.
Playing on iPhone.
Dang, man. This whole time it was him, ain't it? Dang. That's crazy. But chat, that is the end of the stream. Comment down below. I should watch his story again, part 2. And I will see you guys in the next one.